Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Captain Ryan. Today's YouTube video has got me back in the Fletcher. This particular battle, not too impressive, although here early on in the game, I'm going to do a lot of heavy lifting for the team. The big thing in this battle that makes me want to feature it is the fact that it's got some of the worst tier 10 play I have ever seen in a game. And of course, all of the tier 10 ships that I feel played poorly are all on my team. As the battle gets underway, it's Ridgeline Domination Match Mode, and I have gone to the A cap point, which is already being capped by the enemy. And the enemy that's capping it is right there. There's the enemy Shimakaze. Now he starts popping smoke and starts motoring on, and I pop my smoke screen as well. You'll notice that when we entered the cap, before the gearing was even spotted, he popped smoke, and I know he shouldn't have been spotted because he should have the same detection range as I do. So he popped smoke, making himself a torpedo magnet. Friendly Kagero gets some torpedoes away there, but of course, because he gets them away, he's broadside on to that smoke screen. And unfortunately for him, he gets taken out right off the bat because he's broadside on in front of a smoke screen, which was laid by the gearing. So, remember, smoke screens are torpedo magnets. And considering that the enemy team has 5 destroyers, and my team had 5 destroyers, it's safe to say that there's going to be a lot of torpedoes heading towards smoke screens. Of course, because we have so many destroyers here and 2 different smoke screens, we are able to scare the enemy destroyers out of the cap and secure the A cap point. Teams trying desperately to secure the B cap point, and the enemy team is securing C. Speaking of torpedoes and smoke screens, well, I left my smoke screen just in time for torpedoes from the Shimakaze to come right through where I was sitting. I get into the friendly gearings smoke screen here, and I get shots off at the enemy Donskavoy that's pushing up behind that smoke screen. And I really want that Donskavoy dead because, of course, he's got radar. And because he has radar, he could cause some serious problems if he decides to pop it and expose us all. As I get turned around here, enemy battleship, the Izumo, pushing up down that channel, and friendly battleship pushing in here. Now this friendly battleship is focused, absolutely focused on that Izumo. And I want him to kill the Donskavoy. I want him to kill the radar first. But he's not paying attention. He's got all of his guns pointed at a bow on Izumo rather than the bow on Donskavoy. The Donskavoy, which he could easily citadel, the Izumo from the bow, not as easily. But he's 100% focused on it. He's not even paying attention to what's going on around him. He gets shots out at that Izumo, and all of his secondaries blazing away at him. Now, I get torpedoes off, and the gearing gets torpedoes off at that Izumo, who's taken a lot of hits. He has taken quite a bit of punishment. There come torpedoes, and of course, friendly battleship eats one of them right off the bat, again, because he's not paying attention to the situation that's going on around him. Now the question is, am I going to be able to hit anything with torpedoes? My torpedoes are right behind the gearing, so the gearing looks like he might be able to hit that. Managed to secure my first kill of the game by killing the Donskavoy with a torpedo, which is always lovely. And of course, I think that Donskavoy did so because he was trying not to maneuver so that he would avoid getting killed by the Kurfürst here. The Kurfürst broadside onto a bunch of torpedoes, gets offed by those. Again, because he's not paying attention. Finish off the Izumo through flooding from one of my torpedo hits, and I think that was because the gearing's torpedoes hit the Izumo first. The Izumo popped his repair ability, and my torpedo hit and caused flooding just after that repair went on to cooldown. That battleship, by the way, I did go look up his stats after this battle because he played like a bot, and I confirmed that he is pretty much a bot. So, yay! A bot battleship at tier 10. Why would you do this? I simply don't know. I get torpedoes off into the smoke screen because I'm kind of expecting that there's a possibility that friendly or enemy battleship or enemy destroyers or enemy cruisers might be hiding up there. Speaking of enemy destroyers, enemy destroyer pops up here. He is just inside the A cap point before he leaves there. He pops smoke screen as well to avoid, well, pretty much being gunned down by a Gearing and a Fletcher, though I'm not entirely sure he's aware that I'm here, but he's definitely aware that the Gearing's here. Now, again, that I know there's a destroyer here, and I know that Shimakaze's still somewhere in the vicinity, and because of that, I don't want to say in my smoke screen. Now, I'm detected, and it's the Shimakaze. This is a serious problem. And speaking of torpedoes, again in smoke screens, there go more torpedoes into my smoke screen. Do manage to hit that battleship in the distance with 2 torpedoes, and do cause flooding, which is good. But now I'm dealing with this Shimakaze, and I really, really need assistance dealing with him. Shimakaze's popping smoke, and I'm finally far enough away that I would no longer be detected on the surface. So I stop firing in an effort to drop off detectability. Unfortunately, I beach myself. Yes, that's right, I'm beached on these rocks, and the way I've beached myself, I've slid right into them horizontally, and I'm stuck here. I can't move forward, and I can't move backwards. Wargaming, fix this. Seriously, this is the most frustrating thing in the world. After a couple of back and forths, I finally managed to free myself just in time. I was really concerned there because I was beached. Everybody knew where to shoot me, and I was afraid that that Shimakaze was going to get torpedoes off at me, and I was going to be stuck there and left to die. My team at this point has only managed to kill 2 ships, and of the 2 ships they've managed to kill, I'm responsible for both of them. Now, we've lost another destroyer, and I don't know if you realized it at the moment, but the destroyer we lost was team killed by our Kharbarovsk over at the B cap point. Speaking of killing destroyers, I have secured my 3rd kill in this battle by killing that Russian destroyer. I was really hoping that was going to be the Shimakaze because, well, he's been my antagonist in this whole battle, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Yes, our Tier 10 destroyer managed to team kill our Tier 8 Benson. Of course, unlike what I've seen in the past, our destroyers apologize. He apologizes to the Benson, and the Benson actually accepts the apology, which is even rarer. I'm absolutely floored by this. So, kudos to those 2 for actually being polite during this whole situation. Enemy team once again starts to cap the A cap point. Now I got shots off, torpedoes off at that North Carolina, who pretty much just got ended by the Yamato. Now, the Yamato, I mean, broadside onto him, that's a straight up paddling. But it would have been nice to get my torpedoes to hit something else. Of course, given that it was the North Carolina, there's a strong probability that my torpedoes wouldn't have even hit him. Now I lay a smoke screen for the Yamato, and I want you to pay attention. I told the Yamato that I was smoking him. This Yamato does not care. He is not going to utilize the smoke screen that I have just laid for him to sit, recover some health, let me do the spotting so he can shoot at things. No, he is going to continue to push up. And that frustrates the hell out of me, because I just went out of my way and used a smoke screen that I could have used for myself. Now, enemy is still capping the A cap point. I'm back in the A cap point to stop the cap progress, and that's when I'm detected, and there's the enemy Fletcher. So, start getting shots off at him. He's got a little more health than I do, or when we started anyway he did, but I got first shots off, and now I am just wrecking him. The question is, am I going to be able to kill him before I get taken out? Come on, finish him off. Yes, finish him off. Defend the A cap point successfully. Earn my Confederate medal pretty early on in the battle. And now I've got, of course, the Shimakaze in the back. Again, I would really like somebody to help me shoot at this Shimakaze because I'm tired of dealing with this particular player. I get torpedoes off at that Montana that's pushing up here. And that Montana's kind of got himself in a bit of a situation. Friendly Yamato, again, not even bothering to use the friendly smokescreen laid for him. He is just going where he pleases. And he is trying to take out the Montana. But I would really like him to shoot at other things. There's another battleship back behind that island, but I also really want him to shoot at the Shimakaze when I spot him, because that Shimakaze is a serious threat to all of us. My torpedoes look good. They're almost about to hit that Montana and would secure me a Kraken Unleash if they do. Come on, just a few more. I only need to hit him with one, and wait, this Yamato seriously just fired shots? You bastard! This Yamato player does not care to read the situation at all. Seriously, my torpedoes, seconds away from hitting him, guaranteed kill. Yamato wastes his big guns to secure it himself. Really doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I would have kind of done a little bit of a kill steal myself, sort of, in the respect that it would have been about 8,000 damage done. But I was going to hit him with at least 4 torpedoes, so even if he had more health, I was going to secure the kill anyway. So my Kraken, for now at least, is denied. Now, there is another battleship over there, and I do have to be careful of him, but that's when the Shimakaze pops up once again. And I pop my smoke and I turn away because I don't need the Shimakaze to be shooting at me with guns. And while the Fletcher could probably take him in this situation, he's got more health and I'm not willing to exchange my health for his health at this particular moment in time. Mostly because I don't know where that other destroyer is, and because there are some other ships in the game that could still cause me some serious problems if they opted to shoot at me. Managed to set that Shimakaze on fire, but of course he pops his repair ability as my shots hit him as he disappears behind that island. Now I've popped a smokescreen and I know there's a Shimakaze there. I also know that I've got this big broadside on Yamato, and that Shimakaze was pretty much stopped when I spotted him, which tells me that there's probably torpedoes on the way. So I want to move and maneuver, and sure enough, there are those torpedoes, and I start turning in because I'm looking at the situation, and yes, read it correctly. Here come the torpedoes that I expected. Dodge those pretty easily, just straight up situational awareness. Now, most of those torpedoes are going to miss the Yamato because Yamato is surprisingly maneuverable for its size. However, a couple of them do hit. Unfortunately, not enough to kill him, which would have been oh so sweet revenge for me. Now, my team has managed to capture the B cap point. One of the enemy destroyers is recapping the B cap point. And we're finally up on points and in the ship's lead. That early bit of the battle, those first 3 kills, really were the only thing that kept us in this game as long as it did. Enemy Shimakaze pops up once again. He is in the B cap point, and he's popping his smokescreen to drop off because he knows that there's a gearing, and he knows that there's a Fletcher, and he knows that there's a harbor off still left in this game. I fire off torpedoes into that smokescreen where he was and behind him because I think he's going to back up, which would make sense, not wanting to push any more forward towards the gearing, who did open up on him with guns. And dealing with a gearing and Shimakaze at that low health, never a good idea. Now I'm pushing in because I'd like to secure the kill on him as well, and I don't know where he is. I do know he's low health though. Managed to secure the kill, guarantee my Kraken by hitting him with a torpedo. That makes 3 destroyers in this game killed, 2 of which with torpedoes, while they were hidden in a smokescreen. Oh, I do love doing that. But of course, the Shimakaze did have the right idea. He was, in fact, backing up to try and avoid the possibility of torpedoes, but no luck for him. My team has now secured all 3 of the cap points. The enemy team is down to just 3 ships, 1 destroyer, which is somewhere. a battleship, and a cruiser. Now this battleship, very low health. I'm going to borrow the Shimakaze smokescreen while I get shots off at this battleship. With any luck, I can set him on fire and cause him some problems. But really, I'm just doing this to farm damage for my overall score. He's pushed up into the sea cap point, and he has started capping it, but he's got 3 destroyers shooting at him. He's got a harbor office, he's got myself, and he's got the gearing who'll be shooting at him shortly. This battleship really doesn't have much possibility for survival here, even if he does manage to drop off detectability and disappear behind that island. Now, because he's going back behind that island, I decide I'm going to head over this direction and try and get torpedoes off. I know that this battleship could probably repair a lot of his HP if he's able to put the fire out and if he has a repair ability left. Though at this late stage of the game, it's hard to tell if that's actually the case and whether or not he's able to get that fire put out quickly enough, as he doesn't have a lot of health. I fire off torpedoes, 1 set in front of the island and 1 set behind in case he decides to stop and start reversing again. Which, given that he knows there's a destroyer in front of him, it may be the possibility. Of course, it doesn't matter. He's taken out by the friendly gearing, who did set a fire on him and burned him to death. At this point, there's only a cruiser left and a destroyer, and that destroyer is still nowhere to be seen, though if you were paying attention to the chat, you'll notice that we had a Zhao on our team who was up back by our spawn, who died. Report the destroyer was up there, and that's the tier 9 destroyer, the Yugamo, and the Yugamo has begun to cap the A cap point. But at this point, it doesn't matter. It's him versus 4 ships, which of the 4 ships, while our Yamato is certainly the lowest health at the moment, remember, it's the Yamato. Its damage control and repair ability are damn good. So he's going to start regaining a lot of health really quickly. Because my team is so far up on points, and because there's not a lot of time left in this battle, the Yugamo really does not have a lot of option. At this point, I think he's more or less just trying to secure as much XP as possible on the probable loss that's coming. And when you consider that we have a full strength gearing, and then 2 quarter strength destroyers, a Harbor Office and a Fletcher, that Yugamo really does not have any kind of recourse to deal with the situation. While he can detect us first, the fact that he can detect us first will tell us exactly how far away he is and where he's at. And given that we've got such a commanding points lead and there's not a lot of time left, this battle is going to be a victory for my team. Yay, victory. Don't even make it to the A cap point. 92,000 damage done, pretty respectable. A lot of torpedo hits. Kraken Unleashed and Confederate, my only rewards there. 545,000 credits earned in that battle. Of course, this is going to put me top of the team for XP earned, and rightly so. I did take out 3 of the 5 enemy destroyers in the game. 2,300 base XP, followed there actually right behind the Yamato, who did not care about friendly smoke, utilizing the smokescreen and the spotting abilities of his destroyers, or letting the destroyers secure kills and use his guns on more important targets. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Any support level will grant you access to some of my World of Warships replays and screenshots, some of which will make it to YouTube, and some of which don't quite make the cut. If you'd like to send a replay like this one to be featured on my channel, you can do so by sending it to my email. And if you'd like to watch me play World of Warships live, among other games, usually Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard or Pacific Daylight Time for about an hour to an hour and a half, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.